Well, would you look at that? Things change. And not always for the worse. Sometimes things change for the better. And that's something that we should probably sit back and appreciate. Remember on Saturday, I dropped an episode about, or Friday, it was Friday, I dropped an episode about what was happening in Minnesota. The overwhelming, the people in the streets, 50,000 people in the streets of Minneapolis. The boycott, all of that gave you hope. Yep. Courage is rewarded. Sometimes heroism makes all the difference. Let's talk. Welcome back to Trent Takes On 2.0. I'm Trent from the title of the show, and I'm already misty-eyed. I cry a lot when I do this show because the show is raw emotion sometimes. And when I think about some of the things that have happened in the last year, it's almost overwhelming. You know, there have been, I mean, if you wanted a crazy ass television show for a presidency, you got it. You got it. It's not been fun. It's been hard. But sometimes when you see those things that are the hardest, the moments of victory mean so much more. I used to joke all the time that I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, which turns out I'm just not good at it. So I didn't. And I didn't have the discipline to, make myself good at it. I'm one of those people that either has a knack for something or he doesn't. And I didn't. And therefore I dismissed it because that's who I am. I apologize. I used to joke that I would call if I ever got to do a comedy special, I would call it Challenge is Overrated. And I would base it on this bit that I did about how if everything that we do, if we're constantly just challenge yourself, and everything is a challenge for you, everything is a challenge. There are no easy wins. So you've just totally devalued the challenge. It's not a challenge anymore. It's just struggle. Your life is a struggle, man. Why do you do that to yourself? Take some easy wins, Remember what it's like to win, to walk away feeling good, celebrate. Yeah. Challenge is overrated. My new thing is courage will be rewarded. And when I talk about courage being rewarded, I mean in the face of growing authoritarianism. I mean, call it whatever specific type of authoritarianism you want. This is really just one dude being like, I'm in charge of everything and what I say goes, and all of the rules that were in place and the laws and all the things, the mechanisms that were in place to put me where I am, none of those matter anymore. I'm in charge now, and that's all that matters. And so I've put all these yes men around me, and they carry out my orders, or I allow them to act with impunity. I'm looking at you, Stephen Miller, who runs this entire ICE thing. And he just lets them run amok like maniacs. Whiskey Pete and Lil Marco are doing the same thing with foreign affairs. JD Vance is the spokesperson for odiosity. It's not a real word. Odiousness? Smelly stuff. Just awful behavior. That's what JD Vance does. He just goes out and he's like, that's okay. Those people had it coming because they suck or whatever, piece of shit JD Vance is. Just Dance Vance. Anyway, that's what this is. We live in an authoritarian state where the guy that has been elected president has taken the mantle and said, it doesn't matter how anybody did it before. I get to do whatever I want. Now, he uses a fascist bent. There's a private spit that out. There's a private police force doing his bidding when it comes to terrorizing non-white people and white people who care about non-white people. They're terrorizing basically anyone. anyone who dares be in resistance to the authoritarian and his whims. Now, the military stylings of that secret police and the use of the military itself from time to time, that's fascism. Using the power of the state to go after your opponents when you have them indicted or investigated by a Department of Justice, a quote unquote legal system that you control now, that's fascist behavior. Taking over other countries because you're strong enough to do so and you don't care what the repercussions are is fascist behavior. We're warning Greenland, he's not done yet. He's just distracted. But courage against the authoritarians is rewarded. And I'm not talking about the individual protesters. I'm not talking about... Okay, I'll get to this in a second. I'm talking specifically about leadership and about people who are wondering whether or not to stand up, whether or not to say something, whether or not to go, that's wrong and I don't believe in it. I've been saying for ages, if Republicans just started standing up, they could change the tide of this thing. And it's true. They absolutely could. And guess what? They have. It's not big. It's barely anything. Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana was critical of ICE and what they're doing and said that we deserve an investigation into the latest murder of an American citizen. He's right. It's the bare minimum he could do, but he's right. Retiring senator from North Carolina, Tom Tillis, another Republican, said the same kind of deal. It's tepid pushback, but it's something. Senator Rand Paul, notorious libertarian from Kentucky, has decided that he wants to hear from these people. The people in charge of the Department of Homeland Security and Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Customs and Border Patrol. He wants to see them. He wants to bring them before his committee and he wants to ask them questions. Is he going to hold them accountable finally? Is he going to do his job of oversight for them? It looks like it. Maybe. You know, this murder, I don't know if I covered this in the last episode or not. They all run together and there's so much news and it's always a new fire that's going off. This murder from last weekend happened on Saturday morning, our time, right around, I think it was around 10 o'clock in Minnesota, 10:30, something like that. But a 37-year-old Veterans Affairs ICU nurse who was carrying a pistol and had in the open and had an open carry permit, which makes it legal in Minnesota. He was videotaping ICE alongside some other protesters during an operation in Minneapolis when a woman was pepper sprayed and shoved to the ground by ICE. They assaulted her straight up. I mean, there's video of that too. We don't make a big deal out of the assaults that happen all the time when these guys just get way out over their skis, but it's happening basically all the time. Every interaction they have with protesters is assault. They shove her to the ground. He came over and tried to protect her. They pepper sprayed him and threw him to the ground. And he tried to protect this woman who had been roughed up, and then they just basically gang tackled him. They pistol whipped him with some sort of, it may have been a what do they call them? A little billy club or a slapjack, I think they're called. Little tiny weapon that some police have used for years. They beat him down. They took his gun away, and then officers, these federal agents started shooting at him. Point blank, 10 shots that we know of. It's an estimate because they've also fucked up this crime scene. His name is Alex Pretti. And he was just trying to do the right thing the right way. He was using his First Amendment rights. He was documenting a rogue police force behaving badly so that he could redress and help his fellow citizens redress the government for a grievance. That's in the First Amendment. And he was killed for that. He was killed. They're claiming because he was after them with a gun, but they had disarmed him already, and then they shot him anyway. And that makes it an execution. And it's an execution because they're giving each other fist bumps and high fives or whatever congratulatory bullshit that happened afterwards. Just disgusting stuff. I know I didn't cover it in detail. I don't remember when the last episode I did was. I think it was Friday. So I haven't talked about Alex Pretti. I was talking about how proud I was of the people of Minnesota. And then the next day, Alex Pretti was murdered. Again, on tape, just like Renee Good 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. By rogue officers who did not follow protocol, who escalated a situation unnecessarily. But as usual, this is what they do. This is their MO. This is what they've been told to do. This is what they're doing. Don't think for a second that this is some, they're untrained and they don't know what they're doing. No. These people are trained and they're doing exactly what they were trained to do. And that's why when you hear calls to abolish ICE, this thing's corrupt, broken. Customs and Border Patrol, right there with them. Right there with them. Back to courage. Alex Pretti showed courage, real courage, which is knowing you're scared, fearing for what could happen, but doing the right thing anyway. That's courage. And in this case, Alex Pretti wasn't rewarded. He was murdered. But his selfless act of heroism may have been the turning point for a whole bunch of other people. His life is not going to be given up in vain. The people of Minnesota have decided that. The people of this country are deciding that. And people are standing up now, even more so. Companies are standing up and saying this is not acceptable. A bunch of Minnesota-based corporations got together and wrote and basically co-signed a letter saying that the ICE occupation of Minnesota has to stop. That the way that this ICE, these ICE actions are being carried out in Chicago, in LA, in Portland, Oregon, now in Portland, Maine, is unacceptable, and it's un-American. And in a way, in an attempt to speak directly to Donald Trump, it's bad for business, which is obvious. Businesses in this country itself has thrived because of the liberties that are afforded to everyday people. It gives you a piece of freedom to call your own. And it's not applied equally. It's not. We still have a horrible systemic racism issue in this country. And these ICE actions explain exactly what that is, what that means. And it needs to be addressed. Racism is so fucking stupid. And misogyny, thinking that women are lesser than men is fucking dumb. Bigotry, just hating on people for living their lives is dumb. It's stupid. It's ignorant. It's foolish. Hating people for reasons that are just, it only matters to you. You know what I mean? I saw a tweet by Elon Musk who said white people are the white race is slowly becoming, slowly dying. What do you care? How long do you think you're going to live? Is it going to happen in your lifetime? Who gives a shit? Who knows what happens after this world? But I can tell you this. If you do your best in this world to be kind to others, to lift others up, that rewards your soul in the now. And if there is an afterworld or an afterlife where we're rewarded for our behavior or punished for our misdeeds, live a good life. You should live a good life either way. You should be a good human no matter what. Because you want other people to be good to you, don't you? Also, fuck Elon Musk. Damn, bro. Has anyone hurt more people with their direct action in the last 60 years? I don't think so. The destruction of USAID was because Elon Musk had a beef against them for actions that they took in Africa in his youth. And because of him, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people have already met their deaths, and millions more will going forward. Elon Musk, trash. I'll say it. Courage will be rewarded. Standing up to the oligarchs will be rewarded. Becoming a leader of the resistance doesn't mean you have to have millions of dollars. It just means you have to not be a coward. The more of you listeners to this that share this, increase the likelihood of me becoming some sort of leader. I promise to be as courageous as I can be. Because I want to hand off to my future generations a world worth living in. So did Alex Pretti. So did Renee Good. So do every one of those protesters out there saying that what ICE is doing is wrong, it's dehumanizing, it's evil. Everyone who stands up and goes out and protests at No Kings, they know what's up. That's the world I want to leave for my kids. That's the world we should all want to leave for our kids. Where we protect each other. Where we stand up for each other. Where we love each other. Where we're courageous in the face of authoritarianism. Where we stand up to the forces of darkness and evil. And I know that sounds like some sort of fucking Tolkien-esque novel. But if we're being honest about what we see, that's what's happening. And there's a lot more happening behind the scenes that the mainstream media isn't talking about. Or at least most of it isn't talking about. Because they're trying to build all of these giant concentration camps to hold migrants in, to hold immigrants in after they make all these arrests. They're trying to build them in places like Texas and Oklahoma and Alabama and Arkansas. Of Florida, and local people, jurisdictions are fighting against them, saying we don't want that here. There's a lot of NIMBY going on right now, not in my backyard, with these concentration camps, and with good reason, because you know what's going to happen behind closed doors where they refuse to allow oversight inside. You know what's going to happen in there. It's already happening. If what they're doing on the streets with under the watchful eye of citizens with their camera phones, broadcasting what they're doing to the world, and they don't even care about that, imagine what they're doing behind closed doors and how fucking horrible that is. ICE needs to be abolished, and everybody who starts standing up and saying that, it's not redeemable. And Customs and Border Patrol, not far behind. I would argue it's already there, but that's just me. I don't want to see these concentration camps built. Nobody should want that. Nobody should want these things. Nobody should want any of this. This is not the way you make this world safer. It's not the way you make this country better. It's not the way you make America great again. It's bullshit. We make things great by lifting them up, by working together to build something better, not by tearing things apart, not by shattering families, not by destroying communities, not by hurting people. We make societies great together, not torn apart, not raging at each other's throats over perceived slights. Ooh, that's quite a turn of phrase. Something I've turned into Shakespeare. Wokeism. They fucking hate wokeism. I fucking hate wokeism. I hate having to treat other people like they're decent. Fuck you. You don't like wokeism? Wokeism is what it's like to be human. To realize that the world doesn't revolve around you. To realize that every person has their own shit going on, their own pain, their own problems, their own dreams, their own aspirations, their own lives, their own love, their own desire. And saying, that's fine. They should have all that. It doesn't diminish who you are to allow someone else to be who they are. As long as they're not hurting anybody, it's not a big deal. And if you're worried because, hey, there's this new show on HBO or wherever it is, I don't even know where Heated Rivalry is. It's about gay hockey players. Oh, I can't let my kids watch that because they might turn out to be gay. Well, I hate to tell this to every parent out there that's worried about your kid being LGBTQ. The more you hide the world from them, the more they want to experience it. That's the human condition, man. You did it too. Come to grips, man. If your kid is not exactly like you, if you're like me, you're happy. I see all my flaws. But it's hard for me to see the flaws in my kids. I just love them too much. We should all want to feel that. We should all want to feel that about our children. Not be scared for them. Man, it's terrifying for me to drop off my kids at school every day because once they're out of your sight, once they're out of your control, once they're out of your sphere of influence, anything can happen to them. It's terrifying. It's like having your heart walking around outside your chest. I hate having my eldest, knowing that she's out there in the big giant world doing her own thing because, and me not knowing anything about it sometimes. But that's her life. She's an adult now. Those are her choices to make. It's her world. Yesterday was the 8-year anniversary of my mother's passing. And my mother was flawed, but wonderful. And sometimes I get critical of, some of the things that she did. Because I didn't understand. I didn't understand at the time, and she didn't understand at the time. But ultimately, all she ever wanted was to protect us and to make sure that we knew how the world works. She didn't always do a great job, but she tried. Heart was in the right place. I didn't know that then. I understand it now. She was courageous. She was a single mom at a time when it was tough. She worked hard and she put her kids first. Not everybody does that. Not everybody can put somebody else first. but we should all try from time to time, because it does make you a better person when you can see that if we all do well, that's way better than some of us doing well and some of us doing poorly. And like, seriously, man, people really hate crime. I hate crime. Well, then you got to increase opportunity for everybody. Crime is what happens when people don't have opportunity, when people don't have anywhere to turn. Increase opportunity. Level the playing field. Treat everybody well. Holy shit. I'm starting to sound like a commie. I guess, in a way, I kind of am. But none of that matters. What matters is, in this moment, 2026, as the Trump regime continues to run roughshod over everything that we hold dear, personal liberties, a future for our kids, a playing field that isn't horrifyingly tilted to the billionaire class. Ugh. Well, we may be fucked on that one, for the record. But they just continue to trample over everything that makes our democracy work and makes it worth fighting for. Standing up to that's the most important thing right now. Courage will be rewarded. And people like Renee Good and Alex Pretti and countless other unnamed people who have put themselves on the line to document the misdeeds of these evil bastards are heroes. Don't listen to the J.D. Vances and the Stephen Millers and the Kristi Noems who call them domestic terrorists, who claim that Alex Pretti was out to massacre federal agents. Fucking ludicrous. If you wanted to massacre federal agents, you wouldn't be holding your phone in your right hand. And you certainly wouldn't just stand on the side of the street to do it. Absolutely fucking ludicrous. They don't know shit. But they're out there running their mouths, and I hope that they get sued out of their jeans. Pants, shorts, underoos. I don't know. I hope they get sued. I hope they all get sued for defamation because they deserve it. They deserve it. But the tide is turning. I keep saying that, and it's true. So keep the faith and stay strong, and remember, courage will be rewarded. And even though challenge is overrated, in this moment, we have to rise to it no matter what. Thank you for being on this journey with me. And remember to stay strong, stay safe, and use your brain. We need you. It's going to be a long rebuild after this bullshit. And it's going to be fun because we're going to do it with joy in our hearts. And we're never going to forget what we've had to live through to get this far. Remember that. Until next time, check out my other podcast, No Plan, No Problem with George. He and I had a great talk last week, again on Friday. And I will be back with you in a couple days. I appreciate you all so very, very, very much. Until next time, please remember to be good humans. It's the least we can do. Until then, I love you. Stay strong.